Welcome to the Post Up. This is your weekly NBA show coming out of the GoldBoys Sports Network, where usually three friends, but lately only been two friends, break down everything from the association. My name is Michael Willis at Carefree Willis. Dolan is off today. Where is he at? Is he on vacation? He's on
Some
vacation.
campground or something. He's on a little vacation. Yeah, some
Yeah.
campground.
Second vacation because the guy has no
Too
job.
much money. Yeah, too much money. No
Too much
job and too much money. Living the dream.
That's right. No job, too much money, gambling. Gambling's his job. Dude married the game. No job. I'm joined by my main man, best friend since fifth grade, at DillBond00 on Twitter. Dylan, what's up, dude?
What's up? What's up? I think Post Up Boys have some pretty big news. I think a congratulations is ordered for my man Michael Willis. He got himself a fiance this week.
I did. That was very unexpected. Yeah, I did. I've locked it away.
Locked it away. That's right.
That's it. Off the market now. So
nine years later, Ashton's pumped.
That's actually not a joke what Dylan just said. Yep, 9 years later, Ashton finally has gotten a ring. Hilariously, as soon as she got said ring, I'm not important anymore. It's all about this ring, and it's all about what we're doing later on. Come to find out, I don't know. I think you actually do know this. If you don't know this out there and you're planning on getting engaged, it's very expensive.
Surprise.
The stuff that comes afterwards is not cheap. So if you are thinking about it, just you call Dylan and I. Come follow us on Twitter. We'll tell you that stuff is absolutely not. It's not cheap. Another congratulations. Send it right back to him. Dylan's daughter's sick. Congrats, Demi.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, poor Demi. She had a 102.8 fever this morning. She's still in good spirit. She's a happy baby still. But we're getting that fever down, and she's got snot everywhere. I had to change my shirt 3 times a day because I had snot all over it. So,
that's gorgeous. I mean, that is
fun. It's fun being a parent.
Yeah, typical dad stuff right there. Just 2-man booth today. Dolan is out on vacation, so just me and Dylan. We're going to run through about a 45-minute show. Talk about free agency. Not a whole lot. Not a lot of, I guess a little bit of surprises, but not a lot of surprises. A lot of guys re-signing with teams after they opted out. So a lot of stuff touch up there. Let's start off with one that's never gotten covered at all. That should have been covered quite a bit. Damian Lillard finally requests a trade. That's a joke. I mean, this has been covered extensively by not only us, but it seems like everybody in the world. Lillard finally requested trade. What are your thoughts on Lillard officially sending out word to Portland that, hey, it's time for me to move on?
It's one of those things where it's like, finally, but at the same time, it's like, what took you so long? And then it's like, also, like, I don't want to hear about Damian Lillard anymore because this is like the 4th offseason in a row we've had this conversation. So, yeah. And now it seems like, and I'm so for this, Portland's just like not catering to him. It's like they're trying to get with the best deal package possible. And it's just like, I am so for that. I saw a thing today. It said like teams are hesitant to offer really big packages because they don't know if he's going to want to be happy. He's not going to be happy there because he's been so vocal about going to Miami. But who would like Tyler Hero is not enough. Tyler Hero and picks is not enough for Damian Lillard. So why would they want them? Their guard depth is so deep already.
We've been saying that on this show this whole time. That doesn't make any sense. For Miami is the only place that he seems like he wants to go, but it makes no sense. Like, we put it up on our Twitter at the Post Up Boys? Go give it a follow. If you're a Miami fan, give me a legit offer that Miami can fork over.
It's got to be Bam. You got to put Bam in it.
But why? Which, I mean, I do think that makes you better, Damian and Jimmy. Other than Jimmy and Bam, I think that makes you better. But
not much better. They're not as good. Unless they could if they could put Nurkic in there, at least he's a solid big man. If they can
Yeah.
Which they probably would do that. That's the only way you could possibly make it work. But it's like, then Lillard made it. He's been vocal. He wants to play with Jimmy and Bam. So it's like.
Exactly. So like, it's like, well,
you're not going to get what you want, dude.
No, there's not. I find it kind of surprising that, and I shouldn't, and you definitely shouldn't because you're a Boston fan. You saw the Isaiah Thomas thing, but I find it surprising that Portland's not being, somewhat, cooperate. I mean, it's not been done yet. He's not gone to like Minnesota or anything like that. But I find it weird that they've not just bowed down and sent him off to Miami.
I think this is my theory on it. I think it's because he's been so vocal about it. Like every single offseason, he's literally talked about this. Like, and he has his own podcast and stuff like that. So he's in the media talking about it. So it's like that to me would be like enough. Like, dude, some stuff needs to stay behind closed doors. Like,
agreed.
That's it.
Yeah. Agreed.
So to me, that could be why.
You think Miami? You think it's done, or you think he goes elsewhere?
I think he goes elsewhere. I don't think unless they can get a third team, some mystery third team in the mix. I've been seeing like I think it's really fishy. I have to work Celtics in every conversation. It's really fishy. Jalen Brown hasn't signed his extension yet when he
I
was
don't.
able to do it yesterday. So
I don't think that's a
Jalen
work.
for Damian Lillard.
I don't think that's a work into this conversation. I think that's a legit thing. I would not be. We would not be stunned at all if Jalen Brown was heading out to Portland right now. But you never know, man. But no, I don't think it's. I don't think it's shocking at all that
Who
Jalen hasn't signed.
who is worth more, Jalen or Damian Lillard?
I think Damian because I mean he's put MVP like numbers, been doing it longer. But at the end of the day, I don't like. I've been very vocal about my opinion of Brown. I think his talent level is fucking elite. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to focus in on this past playoffs and how sending him one way over the other. But I still think that guy's an elite level talent. I mean, he was second team All NBA.
Second team only. Damian Lillard was third team.
That's very true. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. But I think Dame's been
And
doing
like 5 years younger. And to me, like and is only getting better. Like
100%.
but whatever. I trust in Brad. We'll see what happens.
I don't think that Jalen Brown is as highly thought of around the league as Boston fans and true NBA fan. I don't think like I don't know the right way to say this, but like random ass San Antonio fans who just follow San Antonio probably don't realize that Jalen Brown's actually a stud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm picking on San Antonio. That could be dead wrong, but you get what I'm saying there. But I think that's a fair trade. I think that would be a fair trade. It's interesting. There's a whole world we could go down of a third team coming in for Damian Lillard in Miami. But if you're a Miami
Yeah.
Heat fan, I offer, or I'm asking you to offer me a trade. If I'm Portland and you're the Miami Heat, offer me a trade that does not include Bam Adebayo that makes sense. Don't give me Tyler Hero. I have 5 guards. I don't need Tyler Hero. So there's nothing there, and they're going to go picks. Maybe that could be it. But you're selling your soul, for picks for later on when. I don't know. It's definitely going to be an interesting series. I don't think right now. Gut feeling for you. I don't think he goes to Miami. I think it's some.
I don't think
random
he
team
does either.
talk about.
Yeah, I think they're going to find some random team, and I have the perfect trade.
Let me hear it.
Both teams win on this one, and it's like I just have it's a player for player. You have to work like one teams are going to have to give up more. But I think if the Timberwolves could trade Rudy Gobert for Damian Lillard, because you get that anchor in the paint for these young boys that don't want to play defense right now for Portland.
Yeah.
And by the time these young guys' contracts are up, Rudy Gobert is going to be expiring. So it's like they have the money to do it. And then Damian Lillard can freaking whip Karl Anthony Towns into shape and have that baller of a backcourt with Anthony Edwards.
You think
I don't
he
know
does?
who else. I don't know who else could be in the trade because obviously Timberwolves have to give up more than just Rudy Gobert. But I think that's a good trade where both teams can come out on top.
You think he does? You think Dame? You think anybody? I don't know. I feel bad because we don't really know. But like, I mean, Karl Anthony Towns has such a bad rep as a teammate.
Yeah, he really does.
Do you think? I mean, you think Dame? I like that. I do like that. I think Rudy Gobert in Portland would actually work because I think people are shitting on Rudy Gobert right now, and rightfully so. I mean, Minnesota did not. Anyway.
His offense isn't great, but he's still an elite defender. You can,
Elite.
and it's like. And that's something that's going to, especially with those young guys, like that's something they could throw lobs to him. I think that would be interesting.
100%. You think moving on from Dame? You think Jeremy Grant knew that Dame was gone when he signed that extension for over $100 million? I don't know either. What a weird moving into free agency now. Proper free agency. Guys got signed on Saturday, right? Yesterday. You're hearing this on a Monday. We're recording on a Sunday. Guys started signing on Saturday the 1st.
Friday night and Saturday, yeah.
Friday night, Saturday. Okay, so the Jeremy Grant signs for 4 years, $100 million. Got his bag. A lot of talks of him coming back to Detroit. I was a bit iffy on that. I'm happy he got paid, but there's no way that he knew that he was signing on a team that I feel like I don't know how he didn't know, but I wouldn't be stunned if he didn't, which is a weird thing to say. He's going to be sitting in Portland now for 4 years with a bunch of guys that. The team that's not going to win. I really like Jeremy Grant. That's probably the Pistons, thing in me talking. But man, I really like this guy, and I feel bad that he's not going to get.
I think he's good, but I think he's back in a very similar situation he was with Detroit. It's like he's going to have these young guys. He's just not going to fit around them, and he's going to be in talks of trades every year.
Agreed. That is a contract that is going to be absolutely thought about trading in like a year or two's time. So, I mean, interesting to see what Portland's got going on over there. I still think if you're a Portland fan, be excited. I mean, you're in a win-win situation.
Oh, yeah.
This is a no knock on you. You've got a very good young up-and-coming team. Next season, you're not going to be very good, but you got a decent coach and you got a fun team. It's going to be a fun watch. So don't be upset about Dame going. And if you go somewhere, you still will get a haul. So
Yeah, you'll get a haul for sure. I like him. Briefly, him and Wemby would be interesting. I can't imagine
oh,
that's not what Lillard wants, but that would be
I,
interesting. I saw
yeah,
talks of it.
I saw a lot of that on Twitter, right? And take that for what you will, and especially with what Twitter's being right now. But
Oh
like,
yeah,
I can't. How pissed off would Damian Lillard be if he gets sent over to San Antonio, a team that's going to do nothing in the West this year? And that's there's so many. I do want to say this before we really jump into free agency. There are so many people that are thinking that Wembanyama is going to turn this San Antonio team into a play. Do you know how hard it is? He'd have to get the team 28 wins. Do you know that is so I don't people don't
absurd.
respect that. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Shaq got the Magic 20 wins, I think. Like that
Mhm.
like Shaq did, one of the most dominant players ever. It's not normal for one player to come in to the same team and get 20 wins. It's not going to happen with Wembanyama, but I can't imagine that Dame goes heads over there. I'd imagine he'd be furious if he got sent over to San Antonio, but we shall see. Who else you like in free agency that signed, Dylan?
A couple like big names I could think of. I think the Bucks is interesting. Them signing Middleton and Brooke Lopez back. Like it's one of those you're not really surprised, but at the same time, it's like you are. I think it's interesting that a lot of teams are making moves and the Bucks are just staying the same, not bringing anyone else, keeping the same main players. And it's like, do you think that's enough to win in the East?
I
Them
don't.
staying the same.
I don't. That's really hard because I do think yes in a way. Like I still think the Bucks are up top three in the East, but it is weird because you're relying on guys who are starting to show age and starting to show wear. Middleton hasn't been healthy for years. Like
Yeah,
not a year, like years he's not been healthy. I think the Brook Lopez signing was a good one, bring
that
him
was a
back,
good
but
signing. Yeah,
I do think they need to. You need to freshen it up. You've seen it with Golden State. You saw it every single year with Miami and Cleveland when LeBron was there. You need to start getting in, new blood into the building. I don't think Milwaukee's doing that. Do you think Giannis leaves? I've seen a bunch of that. Not this season, of course, but do you
not
think
this season.
you think there's a look ahead if Milwaukee doesn't go back to the finals? You think there's a potential that I don't know
Yeah,
why I get surprised because we see guys leave all the time, but I just I don't
yeah.
know.
I think it's very possible that he leaves. I think it's a lot can change between now and then, but like
Yeah,
in the Bucks' defense, the East hasn't gotten better. The West has gotten a lot better, but like
yeah,
the only team that made moves in the East, like Cleveland had a couple big signings. Obviously, the Celtics made traded Marcus Smart and Porzingis, but there's a chance that might work. That might not work. That's just like a big rotational piece they lost and filling it with someone completely different. So that might not end up working out. And then the Sixers losing Harden, depending what they get back, like they might not be better either. So the Bucks staying the same, signing these things, I think is smart because I mean the Heat definitely, unless Heat get Lillard, the Heat lost Gabe
yeah,
Vincent and Struce, so it's
yep.
like they're
The
worse for
Heat,
sure.
yeah, the Heat haven't gotten better. You're spot on. Like
Yeah,
all these teams that we've seen, no, a lot of players. I mean, a lot of teams have not absolutely not gotten better. Boston's an interesting one of that's a new style, so we'll see how that kind of works out. But super super interesting. What else you got for Milwaukee? Anything else?
no, I mean I think it's going to be interesting to see them back next year because I feel like they were kind of on cruise control a lot in the regular season, like dealing with injuries and stuff like that. They were able to squeeze out the one seed and then getting upset in the first round, like no one saw that coming.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it is, I mean, in my opinion, that's a fluke thing for the Heat, but who knows?
yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's move
Can't
on away.
imagine that happens again, but
No, I can't. I mean, I can't. Again, I think the Bucks are in a good spot to still be atop of the East, but are they good enough? I think it's more of what goes on around them outside of Milwaukee more so than what's going on. Because I think we know what Milwaukee are still. I don't think nothing's
yeah,
changed for
you're absolutely right.
Milwaukee. We know what's going on. If everybody else gets worse, Milwaukee's far and away the best team in the league. If Boston is holding, if it just doesn't work out with Porzingis, then Boston have limited their self and their success. So I
Yeah.
think it's more about what's going on around Milwaukee, and I think that's what they're banking on. It might be. It's interesting. That's an interesting thought you bring up, man. It might be they might be sitting going around with we've got a good team. Let's keep it rolling. We'll see what everybody else does. But if Boston comes out hot, who else is in the East? Truly, who else is in the East right now?
I think you have to put Cleveland in the conversation. Like this was their first year running with that lineup they had. They
Yeah,
signed some depth, so I think that could be Who they signed? Max Struess.
Yeah.
They
No.
signed someone else
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn.
George Niang from the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sixers. So they
Yeah.
got some shooting, and that's what they needed because their starting small forward was freaking Okoro, and he could not hit a shot. They also, I think, they re-signed Karis LeVert too.
They did. Yeah.
So I think that a team that definitely got better, and they showed signs of being an elite team. So that's someone you could definitely put in the mix next year,
I don't
depending if
know.
everyone gets better. But
I don't know if New York's there. I agree with Cleveland. I
I
don't
don't
think
think New York's there, but it's hard to say. I mean, they signed Dante DiVincenzo. They re-signed Josh Hart.
Villanova squad getting back together.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting actually.
That
Like I
is
didn't even
very
realize that all those people played for Villanova at the time. That's such a stacked
yeah.
squad.
Stacked. Very stacked squad. Obi Toppin heading out to Indiana. Indiana could
Yeah,
make noise next year.
they could.
Indiana.
They could be in the mix. They're a good young team.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, man. Let's
I'm
move
kind
away.
of upset about that because I wanted Walker to start really bad, and now he might not.
I don't I don't know, man. There's something I don't Tom Thibodeau's a weird head coach, man. He seems to fall out with random ass players everywhere he goes. Chicago, Minnesota, and now in New York. We'll see how that goes. I like Obi Toppin. I don't know. I don't think he's I don't want him on the Pistons, but I think he's a decent player. So we'll see how that goes over in Indiana. Let's move away from the East for a moment. Go over to Dallas. Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving, yeah, that's big. I mean, we all I believe all of us said we did not expect him to sign. Like right when he got traded, we talked like, is he going to resign? I think all of us said no. But then once the season ended, like it seemed like there wasn't much gossip around where he was going to go. So him resigning ended up not being really a surprise.
Pretty sure on this show I said put your mortgage on Kyrie Irving leaving the Mavs.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, the way it ended, like knowing Kyrie's history, you didn't
yeah.
want to expect him to be loyal.
I can't believe he resigned. I cannot believe that this guy has stayed on Dallas. We'll talk about our favorites and our least favorites later. But this move makes absolutely no sense to me. And we only got to see it for a short amount of time. So it might have been a rush, but they were the eighth seed when he got there, and they fell all the way out of
I think they were higher than that.
I think they might have been. I remember vividly when I think fourth or fifth game they were the eighth seed. I remember watching that game. So they were in and around the eighth seed when Kyrie got there. They fell all the way out of the playoffs, by the end of it. And it's just that's such a strange. Who else did Dallas get?
I can't think of any free agents they signed. I think them getting Lively is a big
Yeah,
deal. That's going to help with their defense a lot and rebounding. I mean, he's a rookie, so like you got to put an asterisk on there. Like, what are you going to get out of him? But I think that's having that interior paint presence with Luka and Kyrie out on the perimeter. I think is a really good work out really well.
they re-signed Holiday and they re-signed Dwight Powell, and that's about it. It's
Yeah.
the same team, but you and I both talked about on the draft breakdown that we both like Lively. I think that's a very good pickup. I think that'd be interesting, but enough in the West? I don't think so.
You think Mavericks make the playoffs?
If they don't, chaos ensues because Luka's going to be demanding to leave. Kyrie's going to be, he's always demanded to leave. He's always being drama, but yeah, they should have made it this year. So yes, I mean they should have made it this year. It's got to
I
go
would.
bad.
Yeah, I would be very confident that they would make the playoffs just off of sheer talent if Jason Kidd wasn't still their head coach. That to me is like the scary part. Like Jason Kidd has proven not to be a good head coach.
Did you like him
Why?
as a player?
No, honestly, no, I couldn't stand him. I feel like there was always comparison between him and Steve Nash, and I loved Steve Nash so much.
Yeah,
So
that's
it was
so
just
funny.
like, and I don't even know if they were actually like compared or not. Like I was so young when I was watching basketball. Then it was so hard. Like when they were both like top two guards.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
Jason Kidd's got that championship, and Steve
Stealing a
Nash
living.
does not.
Stealing a living right now. I don't know how this guy keeps getting high profile coaching jobs. I mean, this guy has done absolutely nothing with a stacked talent.
Stacked talent.
Stacked talent. This is, I would say, yes, Dallas make the playoffs, but because they should have made it this past year. I mean, they had it.
They should have.
They were leading it by like 2 games or something like that. So they should have made it. If they don't, though, I mean, this is about to get very sour. They can't go after anybody. I don't know. I don't really know if I like that one or not, man. Let's go over to Los Angeles real quick, and then we'll go down to your old school team, Phoenix. Over in Los Angeles, re-signing Austin Reeves, re-signing Rui Hachimura, re-signing D'Angelo Russell. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. A lot of depth still. I mean, a lot of depth.
Yeah.
I think I like what. I mean, they went Western Conference, so
Yeah, there's them running it back because they only had half a season together. You know,
Yeah.
like less than that. Them running it back with their same squad, I think, is a good thing. I mean, their big asterisks are the same thing. Is LeBron going to show age, and is Anthony Davis going to stay healthy? If both those things can be on the upside, they're going to be right there in the mix. Which I hate to say, 'cause screw the Lakers, but
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Austin Reeves, man, $50 million over
dude,
4 years, I
steal,
believe. Steal.
steal. And you and I both talked about how like, oh, this
Yeah,
guy's going to get overpaid. It's going to be such a
yeah,
bad signing, and 50 million is a very, very good contract. That dude showed signs of being absolute star. Like
yeah.
getting him for that low, genius.
Yeah,
Awesome.
solid. I thought this guy
Good
was
job,
going to get
Lakers.
like a 5 year, $80 million, $100 million, 120 million. Got $50 million over 4 years, I believe, is what it was. On shoe deal, got his like own
Yeah.
thing at back home. I think he's from Oklahoma or County. I can't remember now. This guy's fucking living life, dude.
Arkansas,
Good
I
for
think.
Arkansas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's one of those down there. One of those down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's good for this kid. I mean, good for this guy, man. He's built something out of absolutely nothing in a year's time ish. So, but good for him. I mean, I thought he was going to get hit severely overpaid. Contract's
Yeah.
looking pretty good. So if he
Good.
becomes a
Good stuff.
stud, yeah, if he becomes a stud, they've got a very good contract. Need more for the Lakers though, right? Like this ain't enough, right?
I don't know. I think it might be. I mean, you got to think that I with the team, Rui Hachimura got there at the deadline. So he's still young. He can get better. The whole D'Lo like chemistry thing might be interesting. If that could work out, there was signs of it being good. And I think Austin Reeves is going to take a step and get a little bit. If Austin Reeves can, he also might have been a fluke. You never know. Like he was one of those like
Yep.
weird players. Like those Steve Blake's
Yes.
players that just randomly have a good playoffs type deal. But I mean, he showed signs of being good. I think there could be enough there. The only like hard part is that the West it only got better. So
Yeah.
it's hard to count out LeBron still, but the West
It,
definitely gotten better.
it's I don't know. I still like you just said. I don't really count out LeBron. The older I get, the more I used to hate the man. Now it's gonna be weird when he goes. It's gonna be very weird when he
It
goes.
is what it is.
League's in a good spot though. But
It is.
it's weird for the Lakers right now. I still feel like they need something else. I don't feel like this is a good enough championship winning team, but they made it to the Western Conference, so we'll see. Let's go to a team that absolutely feels like they
Wait,
should be good.
I got the segue on this one.
Okay,
Ready?
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Might be the same team, might not have been. So looking at Austin Reeves' contract,
Yeah. Yeah.
would you rather have Austin Reeves and we'll switch over or Fred VanVleet? Like
Okay. So
that's a no-brainer to me. To me, Austin Reeves is better than Fred VanVleet right now.
I was going to go to Phoenix. This is a much better segue, 100%. Over in Houston, I'd also have Austin Reeves. I don't like Fred VanVleet. I don't like any of these guys from Toronto that Nick Nurse had. I'll answer this with two kind of answers here. I think Philadelphia have gotten worse. I don't really care who they sign. I don't. We'll go back to Philly and the James Harden thing, but I think Nick
Depends
Nurse
who they
is
get for James, but yeah.
for sure, 100%. So right now it's early days, but I think Nick Nurse is a strange hire for that team. They Toronto heavy on defense, very heavy on defense, which I think Ime is going to love out of Fred VanVleet because decent stuff there. But I mean, that's an overpay for Fred VanVleet. That's a
Dude.
massive overpay
When
for
you
him.
had like you just drafted such good guards, it's like why are you paying this dude so much money to take up these young guards that you have now?
And you got KPJ, and I know people are going to be like, Kevin Porter Jr. is not a point guard or whatever you think he is. Yeah, I mean, you're right, but this is
I thought Amon was going to come and be their point guard. Now he's not. Like
this has to be he's got to be the bench, right? Fred VanVleet cannot start, right? How does
if
he?
you pay him that much money, he has to start.
I
He
can't.
has to, and I hate the fact that he is. I hate that signing so much.
You're gonna run Fred VanVleet, Green, Amin, Jabari Smith Jr. and Sengun. I don't
So
like that.
I
I
don't
think
either, but I think that's
why
what they're.
why draft? I know I get it with Asar Thompson because he actually is a 2 or a 3, but
Mhm.
Amin was clear as day out of a point guard. Like
Yeah, Fred
Fred
VanVleet
VanVleet.
played shooting guard a lot when he was with Kyle Lowry, so that could be a potential option. But I think Fred VanVleet signed here, and they want him there because he wants the ball in his hands. I think it's what
I
he wants. But
agree.
he played off ball. I mean, even like I'm gonna take that back a little bit because Siakam, I bet averaged more assists. I don't know that for certain, but Siakam seemed like he was more of a playmaker for Toronto last year than Fred
Yeah.
VanVleet was.
Yeah,
So
if Dolan was here, he'd look it up. I could
yeah,
look
he
it up
would
right
know.
now, but I'd be too lazy. So
No,
let us somebody let us know. Whoever's listening, go follow us on Twitter. Let us know if who had more assists last year, Van Vliet or Siakam. I think you're right though. I mean, I don't think if you're not very far off because Siakam did have a lot of the ball at the end of last year. It's an interesting one, man. I don't really get that one. I don't get, and let's move over to the one I absolutely do get in Houston. I think Dylan Brooks is getting a little too much hate here, and I know people will laugh at that, but Dylan Brooks at the end of the year, Dylan Brooks was an all defense. He was all defense. People I think are forgetting that this guy is he's an asset to a team. He's an asset
absolutely.
anywhere he goes. The when he was in Memphis, especially at the end when Ja was out and Bane was hurt. I mean, the only scoring option they really had was Desmond Bane. I mean, sorry, Desmond Bane was Dylan Brooks. Now that he's going over to Houston, that scoring output is going to be significantly less. They're not going to be expecting a lot out of him. If he can get you 9, 10, 11 points a night, which is what I think he is. He's a 9 to 15 point a night guy, but phenomenal defense and guarding the best player for that other team. I think this is a good move for a Houston team, but again, it begs if you're going to pay him that money,
He's got to
he
start.
he also has to start. You're going to put Amin Thompson off the bench. I mean, I guess that's a very good bench option, but that kind of sucks. Like,
I think there's a chance Jalen Green might get traded because he's going into his third year of his deal. He's probably got a 4-year contract. So I think he's got it. You can get some stuff for him. I think that would be a good move.
Dylan, you brought this up on a podcast a couple weeks back about Jalen Green getting traded, and I blew it off immediately. I was like, I can't. The person who dropped that has no credibility. I can't imagine Jalen Green getting traded. The more this plays out, the more I'm like, is this motherfucker going? Like how? It's one. If the only way it makes sense to me is if Ime comes in, looks at Jalen Green, and goes, he's got to go. We've got guys here. He can go. We'll find somebody else. I find that it'll be interesting. It'll be
Oh,
very interesting if Jalen Green goes.
on a flip note, I think Jalen Green could be good off the bench. I think the way he plays, he's got a very solid, instant offense type deal. But I think his ego's too big. He's too young. His ego's too big. He's not going to want to come off the bench. So I think
You don't
that
think?
would not be good.
You don't think? I mean, this guy, second overall pick. It was argued to possibly go
Yeah.
first. At the time, I thought I would have said I'm not. I'd take either one, Cade or Jalen. Now, clear as day, Cade is probably one of the greatest players of all time. But watching Jalen come off the bench would be very strange for me. Watching him not play for the Rockets because this is I do like Jalen Green. I think he's a very good player. I would be stunned if the Rockets give up on him this quick. But you're right, man. He's in third year of his deal. We don't really know if he's going to re-sign. We have no idea if he even likes it there. From all accounts, it doesn't really seem like he likes it there. It's been nothing but drama since he's gotten to the Rockets. Ime might have come in and been like, "Hey, I'm not doing this. We're not doing with this kid. We've got Amin. We've got Fred VanVleet. You could trade Jalen and get a lot for him, and then you'd still have a very serviceable lineup." So crazy,
Trade
man.
trade Jalen Green for Malcolm Brogdon. I'm in.
yeah, get the fuck out of here. So let's go over to Philly real quick, man, because I actually do have a couple things I want to touch on this. You brought it up last week. You asked if I could, I'm unbiased, not a 76er fan. Like, what am I doing with James Harden? The more I've thought about that question since, the more I just feel like you have to re-sign him because I don't know what you're getting for this guy. And if a trade to the Clippers for Norman Powell and Trey Mann is what you're getting for James Harden, I don't
Hicks
think that's
and
good.
Batum, maybe.
I just don't. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't mean to do this when Dolan's not here, but it truly makes no sense to me if you're Philadelphia and you've literally sold a process to your fans, that process ending with you not even making a run, never making a run at the NBA Finals. I mean, you could say that Toronto lost, yes, but I mean, never truly grabbing hold of a run. I don't know if James Harden isn't the answer there either, which is the crazy thing. Philadelphia are in such a bad spot. And if this
Oh, yeah.
doesn't work out, Nick Nurse is he's gonna get the blame of this. This could go this could go so wrong. So horribly wrong for Philadelphia this coming season. If James stays and it doesn't work out, this is bad because James used to be one of the worst defensive players in the league. He's gotten significantly better, still not great, but gotten significantly better. But I just don't think he works in a Nick Nurse system. But if you try to trade James Harden, it's very clear from all reports you're not getting much for him.
Yeah.
This team
His
is
trade
this
value is not high.
the lowest it's probably ever been. You gave up so much, regardless of what you think about Ben Simmons. At that time, he was their second best guy. You're giving up a lot for James Harden, and now you're in a significantly worse spot. I think this could go really bad. If you're Philadelphia, what do you do? Where do you turn? You keeping James? You sending him out? What are you doing here?
So I think it's a good move for them to trade James, see what you can get. Obviously, it seems like Morey is not in a rush to trade him. He's going to wait for the right package that he wants, which good on him. Like, don't get him out of there. But I think that with James Harden gone, that's going to make Tobias Harris better. He's not going to be great, but I think he will be better. And I think this goes without saying, Maxi's going to be better. And like Maxi put up 40 points when Embiid and James Harden were playing. Like Maxi has showed some serious potential of being an all-star. He's not probably going to be a 2-time MVP like James Harden, but I think that he might run a better offense than James Harden did. So I think
Kentucky guards.
Yeah, I think there's a serious chance. I'm not saying that they're going to be better because it's like James Harden is still, I mean, he averaged 20 and 10 last year. Like not many people do that.
Yeah.
Don't think they're going to be better, but I think that they could be set up for a better playoff run. I think because having the James Harden, Joel Embiid experience in the playoffs was atrocious.
Bad.
Literally,
Bad.
like, it was bad.
Yeah.
And like I said, I do feel bad talking about this without Dolan here, but to me, it was bad. They don't feed off each other. They don't lift each other up. They feed off each other in a negative way. One's down, the other one's down. Like they bring each other down, and that's not what you want. You don't need these little Nancys out here doing it. It's just
that's right. Good.
These so I think that if I'm Morey, I'm believing in Maxi, and getting rid of James Harden and see what you can get.
I think I find Philadelphia to be in the worst spot out of a lot of these playoff teams that last year's playoff teams. I just don't. I see a world where they don't miss the playoffs. That's not happening. But I do see a world where Philadelphia gets significantly worse than they have been in the Embiid era when he's played. With other guys around him. This could go very bad. Now, 12 months from now, they could be winning the title, and that would be my nightmare. Truly, would be my nightmare. Probably wouldn't be doing this show because I can't listen to Dolan.
I'd be out.
Way out. You'd be listening to Dolan talk all by himself. I could not be listening to that shit. So I think they're in a very, very strange spot. Another team that is in a potentially we've hinted at a little bit. Another team in the East that's in a potentially worse situation than they were last year. Miami. Losing a lot of depth guys. They want to keep Caleb Martin in whatever trade they make. Caleb Martin, Boston killer.
Screw that guy.
Hiding every other game. But this Heat team is another one, man, that could go. It'd be 8th seed again, but you're not making that run to the. You're not making that run out to the NBA Finals, man. It's going to be very interesting for Miami this coming year. You want to talk about Boston and Porzingis?
I think I would rather talk. Yeah, we talk about that. So Porzingis signing that 2-year extension, I think it was big because he was eligible for a $77 million 2-year extension. They got him for $60, and that's going to expire when Jason Tatum's extension will kick in. So that way they're not paying big money to all these people at the same time. I mean, Jaylen Brown hasn't signed his extension yet, which is, to me, pretty fishy with the whole Damian Lillard stuff going on.
How much could he make? How much could he make right now?
$295, I think.
290.
Yeah, 5-year, $295 million extension is what he's eligible for. Whether he gets all of that, I don't know. But
let me tell you something. If I was eligible to make a $295 million contract over 5 years, and I was waiting on somebody to offer me that deal, I promise every minute I'd be at that person's door. Hey, yeah. I have pens, multiple. When are we signing? So it is weird. It's weird he's not signed. Like, why is this guy not signed?
There's all this stuff on Twitter that apparently he's like traveling in Europe right now, and people are just like, "Hey, People have email in Europe, so it's just
dude,
like,
dude, right? Like traveling in Europe when back home you could sign a $295 million contract. I mean, maybe, but I promise I'd go right. I don't know, 295
yeah.
mil. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of talk where it's like, did are they waiting like to see what the look at the Lillard situation? Are they like trying to talk Jalen out a little bit less so they can make moves? Like, and I feel like there's so much, and this is what one thing I don't like about the NBA is like there's so many times it seems like it's players against the team when it's like
Yeah,
they're literally a team. It's just like,
yeah,
be real, like, hey Jalen, we want you here. We will give you this amount of money, but if you want to win, it'd be better if you took a little bit less. Like
yeah, for sure.
just figure out some way to work it out that way. And it's like if you want that money, hey, you're ours. Like we want you here. That's it. Like it just seems so simple to me. But I'm not trying to rally all these divas. So that's not me.
That's right. That's right. This fit with Porzingis. You think this is a good move? And we're not going to talk about Smart. I mean, we've done on
Yeah,
that. But
done on that.
you feel this is a good move, solid move. You think this is going to? Are you better? Or at the end, yes or no? Or is Boston better? You get Jaylen Brown. You keep everybody you got. Shout out Derek White. He did it.
He did it, my
Shaved the head.
man. Love that
Yeah,
guy.
needed it. Needed
Needed it.
to.
Shout out there,
Needed
White.
it. Shout out Derek White. Beautiful family. Shout out Derek White. Needed to shave that thing off,
Needed.
dude. Needed more people need to step up and stuff like that. But is Boston right now? They start the season. Everybody's back. Porzingis is here. Is Boston better?
I'm optimistic. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
And this is why. I think the definition of insanity is trying to do the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah.
It's granted they made it to the fight. They got as close you can get to win championship without winning a championship with that core of Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. So I'm okay with him blowing it up. Some of the podcasts I was listening to, it's like it's no one's fault but Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Like if they
For
would
sure.
have played better and won, Marcus Smart would still be here. They wouldn't have changed
sure.
anything.
For sure.
So I'm glad. I trust Brad that he made a move. I don't think it was an easy move for him because Marcus Smart is such a fan favorite, and like I said, people are still talking about it. And I love the guy. Missed the guy. I remember when they drafted him. The big question mark to me, I think this Celtics having a low post presence. Al Horford is not a low post presence anymore. I heard today Porzingis shot 60% last season while posting up. That's among the best in the NBA. And you wouldn't think that. Like I did not watch many Wizards games. I'm gonna be honest. But
I hate watching the Wizards. Hate it.
yeah,
Hate it.
yeah.
And they're 2 hours up the street, and I hate it. I hate watching the Wizards.
So I think, and also he's got to be a third option. Like he doesn't have to average 23 points a game. I think that when the game slows down, which it always does in the playoffs, having that low post presence is going to make a big difference.
Yeah.
But health is such a question mark with Porzingis. So he could easily pull a Gordon Hayward and break his ankle first game. So
for sure, I think you are slightly. I think you're better because obviously the other thing wasn't working, and it wasn't going to work. So I think you're a better off team as a neutral, and I think it's going to be interesting because I think with this dynamic, we talked about it on previous shows. This is the time Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, point forwards, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, they have to be.
Let him run the ball up. I mean, Tatum does that most of the time anyway. So
he does do it a lot. Yeah,
I think this is going to be a fun season for Boston, man. A very fun season. Another team in the East that gave up guys. John Collins heading out to Utah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's very interesting having that because John Collins is a 4, right? But isn't Laurie Marketing also a 4, or is he a 3?
Marketing been playing at the 3 lately, but like he's another one of them like point forwards that I just they got a lot of bigs there. You got a lot of bigs there. Utah's an interesting team. I don't really know what Utah are. I mean I have no shout out Marketing. He deserved all the flowers he got from last year, but I'm not really sure what Utah are going to be. They are a very massive team that Walker Kessler's a dog. I mean he was fun last year. John Collins, I don't know why people disliked him, man. I felt
I liked him. I wanted him in Boston.
I know. I felt Atlanta were a strange team. Have been a strange team that fit Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, which we're gonna come to Atlanta in a second. I got one for you, but I think it's I thought that was a strange thing. Let it run one more year. but they felt clearly. I don't. This was mainly from that new CBA, right? Trading 2 for second round picks from Utah
Yeah, they
over
had
to
to.
Atlanta.
Yeah, they had to clear. And there's rumors of Dejounte Murray or Trey Young. Like there's rumors of. I don't think it's gonna be Trey Young leaving, but
Let me
there's
let
rumors of
me
one of them leaving. So
All right, let me jump into it then. Here's what I think's happening. John Collins off to Utah. Pay attention to Utah next year. They are one of my league pass teams. I think they're going to be very interesting. They could quickly, for me, turn into a not league pass team because they could be terrible. But I don't know. It's interesting what's going on over there. Back in Atlanta, though, that's Jaylen Brown. I feel like DeJounte Murray off Jaylen Brown. I would not be stunned if that's what's going on here. I really feel. I'm not trying to turn this back to Boston. It's kind of a full circle here thing. I feel like it'd be weird if they got rid of both Smart and Brown in one offseason. I would not. I still would not be stunned if Brown's heading down to Atlanta or heading out somewhere. And if that's the case, you got to get rid of DeJounte Murray because Trae Young's not going anywhere, right?
yeah, no, I would want to know what else Atlanta
But
can offer because it'd be more than
before,
just Dejounte Murray.
yeah. So before exactly. So that's 100% right. That is another. That's one of the big things here. I know as a Boston fan, you're sitting there going, well, it'd be interesting with Brown leaving. If you are Atlanta, you have to think. So take Boston out for a moment, take Jaylen Brown out. If you're Atlanta, you can't be sitting there thinking, we've gotten rid of Collins, we're better. You can't, there's no way. So they have to be sitting there on their side thinking, how can we get better with this team? Trey's not going anywhere. DeJounte Murray's the only thing they got. Sending DeJounte somewhere. I'm not saying that's Brown, but that's the first call I'm trying to make there. 100% you need to give more up for Jaylen Brown, and you don't want picks. I don't really know what else Boston need that Atlanta has. And I'm not saying this is Boston Atlanta tied, but Atlanta has to do something because there's no way they can sit there and go DeJounte Murray, Trae Young. That's who we got. We're ready to roll. We're going to win a title. There's no way. There's absolutely no way in the East. So I don't know who they could get, but it's an interesting shot. Interesting one to keep a look at. We're only 4 days into this thing by the time you're listening to this. So 3-4 days into this whole free agency thing. So who else? Did we miss anybody?
Yeah, one more. We got to talk on the Suns. We skipped over them.
Yeah. They're deep now, dude.
Oh my God, shut up. So, like, that's one thing I told Mike when we're going this. I need to talk about the Suns. There have been so many things on Twitter, like these Sun people are saying that, oh yeah, we got Brad Beal over talking about how we lost all of our depth. The people they signed they're no ones. Eric Gordon's solid. Like, no one, like, U2 Wananobi, like, was like the eighth man for the Nuggets and was okay. He shot well. That's it. Like, these players they got, they do not have good depth now. Yeah. I looked at it, and half of them, I don't know who they are. It's like, this is ridiculous that people blowing it up. I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to win a championship. You probably don't need that much depth when you have 4 Hall of Famers in your starting lineup. So, but still, like, well, I said that. Aiden's not a Hall of Famer. Sorry.
I don't. Yeah. I find it's very interesting what Phoenix are doing over there. I think we've far moved on from the big 3 era in basketball. And we like doing it differently now. We like 2 guys and a bunch of fillers. Yep. And Phoenix trying to go back to his big 3 kind of game, big 4 if you want to count Ayton as that. I don't see how this works out. I think this is this whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. And again, you guys have heard it on the show. I'm praying for, if you're a Phoenix fan, you don't want to follow me. I'm praying for your downfall because that means good chance Devin Booker comes home. Right. I need that. But I just don't, as a genuine take, I just don't see how this works out. None of this makes any sense to me. It's time. I don't think at the end of the year we need to do this. I think now is the time. I'm going to really start questioning KD's ability to lead a contender that doesn't have Steph Curry on it. I mean, he's not done it anywhere. So Phoenix, man, they win in the title early. No, I'm sorry, not in the title. Are they going to the Western Conference Finals next year? Early days. You can change later, but right now, sitting here right now.
I think the Nuggets are probably potential favorites to go to they only lost Bruce Brown. Like, they're going to be right there in the mix. I guess they lost Jeff Green too. But Jokic is, in theory, going to be better. I think they could, Jamal Murray being healthy, come back, be better. I have Nuggets going to the West Conference Finals for sure. It's hard to pick another team. So I'd say that Phoenix most likely is just because I mean, Lakers maybe. I can't think of any other teams that could potentially be a shoe-in rather than the Nuggets.
I can't see Phoenix. You want to hear something really bad? I've just
Mhm.
been humbled for the entire second half, or since we've been doing this pod. I I'm out on Denver going back. I'm out. I don't believe it at
Yeah.
all. Until it happens, I'm out. And I should be. I should be a believer because I owe you a steak dinner. I'm 100%. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think I'm not. I don't know where I think they're gonna get bounced on that shit, but I I'm not until it happens again. I'm going Denver. Don't make it back to the West Conference. So interesting. Bruce Brown off to Indiana. That's again
That's a good. Yeah, we didn't talk about the Pacers yet, did we?
no, a little bit. We touched on how good they're
Oh
going to
yeah,
be
yeah,
next year,
yeah.
but that was
Okay.
about it. Indiana's going to be fun, and they could still, if you're an Indiana fan, they could still trade Miles Turner and like get a very good haul for this guy as well. Very interesting. Who else? We miss anybody before we move on?
I want to touch on one thing real quick. I hate to bring Dame back in the conversation, but I saw people after Dame officially requested a trade that Stephen Curry and Devin Booker are the only loyal superstars. Get that crap out of
You
my
ain't kidding,
face.
dude. You ain't kidding.
Like that is not. Don't like Dame Lillard. His whole drama has been annoying, but don't say he's not loyal for him not staying. Steph happened to be a part of a dynasty. Like that's super lucky. Like he also his contracts because he battled injuries so much. Like when he won those two first titles, he was one of the least paid players on the team. Like that's just like lucky and unlucky for him. They just happened to do all this. And then the same thing, like Booker, they've been
Let me touch on Booker. Let me touch on Booker.
yeah,
I'm so you're spot on with Steph. I saw this too on Twitter that there's the only two guys. I was like, well, Steph got bred into this whole thing. Booker, I mean, has he been loyal? Every damn week, this boy's rocking a Michigan something. I don't know. I mean, that he's not rocking Pistons gear out of respect. I mean, that's respect. I don't know if that's loyalty. Every single week, this guy's got a different Michigan team on. He's constantly at Ann Arbor. I don't know, man. This kid wants to come home. Bring him home. Bring him home, Troy. Let's move on
love
from
that.
free agency. What we got next, Dylan? What's a good? Dylan's got a pretty sweet segment that he's going to start bringing up now that we're in the off season and have little shit to do. We thought this was going to be a quick show. We're at 47 minutes right now, so pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
jeez.
Good.
Alrighty, so Michael and I were talking, and Dolan, he's still here sometimes. We're calling it the post up breakdown, where I typed out all 30 teams and they were each assigned a number, and then I'm going to do a random number generator, and we'll do two or three per episode, depending on time. And we pretty much do a breakdown of that team, where it could be touch on the free agents if we haven't talked on them yet, talk about expectations for next year, talk about needs, what they need to be in the mix for whatever their ceiling is, and break it down. And it's going to be completely random, so it's going to challenge our knowledge of these smaller teams. One little asterisk: if today we get the Sixers, we will skip it and we will wait for Dolan.
For sure.
So, we ready to start that?
Yeah, who's the first one? Who we got?
All right, let's see. Pull up the
If
random
it's
number
Minnesota,
generator.
I'm fucked because I do not want to talk about Minnesota.
So number 15. Let's pull up my magic list. Oh God, Washington Wizards.
Oh shit, dude. Actually, you know what? I kind of like this one. They've gotten they got rid of Monte Morris. He's off to Detroit. Flint boy. There we go. We've got Jordan Poole coming in. Who else is there right now? Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones is
Solid.
big. They re-signed Kuzma. That was big.
They did. That's actually, we didn't get to talk about that during free agency, but Washington, I think when we do these, what are the expectations for these teams, right? Like where is
Yeah.
Washington? Like what do they want to be? Do they, with all these moves, because I think signing Kuzma back is actually a big deal. I think that shows, regardless of what you think about Kuzma, I think that shows intent from Washington that they did not come into this thinking we're going to be shit when we're tanking. I think they're looking at this going, hey, the rebuild starts now, but everybody says retool now, but it's a retool of we're going to make a run and we don't need to be shit while we rebuild this whole thing. Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, Kuzma, Danny Avdija, these are very good
Gafford's a
players.
solid center.
Gafford is undersized, solid center though. I mean, very good. This is a decent team here. What do you think Washington's expectations are? Like, what do you think they want? What if you're a Wizards fan? What is like a successful season this year?
I think they have potential to be in the play-in. I think that's like serious. Wouldn't say it's likely, but I mean, Jordan Poole showed. I mean, coming from a Celtics fan, like I watched him torch the Celtics, make these crazy shots, and Kuzma solid too. They can both average north of 20 points next year. And then Tyus Jones is one of the only true point guards left in the NBA. So he's going to run this offense and he's going to do it well. And I think I said they have some young talent that might be decent too. And they just drafted Bilal Koulibaly. So, but who knows what he's going to be?
Who knows? Let that kid cook on the second unit. If I'm Washington, I think to be honest with you, I probably would have gone after a John Collins or somebody like that. Had moved one of these guys down to the bench and then had a better bench unit. Their bench unit definitely is going to need some work. Their starting lineup though is fun. Play in for sure. I don't think any higher than 7 at best case scenario.
Yeah,
I'm
I'd agree
trying to
with that.
I'm trying to think of who else could be. There's a couple teams a lock ahead of them. I mean, if all goes well in Indiana, they'll be far and away ahead of them. Um, they might be.
I'd say Orlando's in the mix for the play-in next
I
year.
agree.
Detroit's in the mix for the play-in next year.
I don't know. We'll just miss. But I think Washington's is an interesting spot, man. Especially when you're looking at that Tyus Jones contract. If they truly believe in this Bilal Koulibaly kid, you could flip Tyus Jones for a first round pick. 100%. You
Oh,
can send that
absolutely.
guy to a contender, and you can
Oh,
have a first round pick. So if it goes south, this is that is a definite trade piece that you have to get a guaranteed first round pick, and you'll be able to retool in the draft next year. Who do I think? If who would I don't I wish I should have put up a list of who the current free agents are that they can go after and get. Jared Allen is
yeah,
Jared
that would
Jared
be
Al-
solid.
did Jared Allen if he doesn't re-sign with Cleveland, I know they've let
Is
him
he a
go.
free agent? I thought he's still under contract.
I think
He's
he's
been
in.
talking trade rumors though. I do know that.
I feel like that could have been. I feel like he was a unrestricted free agent, but if not, if you can get a Jared Allen type player, we just talked about Gafford. I think Gafford's a very
Miles
good
Turner.
player.
We just talked about that. Miles Turner would be good. Maybe
Man,
trade for Miles Turner.
that would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Tyus Jones over to Indiana, that one could be very interesting. If they can get a better center, if they can get because Avdija's a very good floor spacer there. Kuzma's a very good floor spacer. Obviously, Jordan Poole can attack the basket and floor space. You can see a lot of the pool party is going to be in full effect in Washington.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you something. Bradley Beal there, everybody feel like you have to resign. A year ago now, re-signing Bradley Beal, everybody, you said you have to do it. Or not have to do it, but you need to decide if you're going to keep Brad there or not, or trade him away and get better pieces. Washington's better now, aren't they? No Brad Beal.
I think that's hard to say. I think if Bradley Beal was healthy, they were probably better with the keeping like with Porzingis and Kuzma in the mix. I think if Bradley Beal, but it seemed like Bradley Beal and Porzingis and Kuzma, all three of them couldn't really mesh together either. Like
Yep.
he had to like run the point guard. So I mean, maybe there's some talk there. I think I think Bradley Beal did play a lot. He played more games than I thought this past season than I think. I think he played close to 60. So
Yeah. Yeah. We
so
broke that down.
I always say he wasn't healthy, but I guess he was. Like I said, I did not spend a lot of my time watching. I do know he was not healthy for the last time the Celtics played.
It's always bringing back to Boston. I think it's a decent shout, man. I'm wondering if you're a Wizards fan, get involved with us over on Twitter at the Post Up Boys. Let us know what you think about this new look Wizards team. This could, I think you're happier now because obviously it's the unknown. You got Jordan Poole and you've moved on from Bradley Beal. That obviously was not working. So I think it's always time. It's always a good thing when you've got a guy there for 10 plus years and it hasn't worked out. It's just get a fresh face, get something new in there. And I think the Wizards have done that. If you didn't get a better center, I think that's their only starting rotation. If they believe in Bilal Koulibaly, then they definitely keep him around and trade Tyus Jones, get a first round pick, get a better center. I like Gofford, but you see if you can get a better center. But that starting lineup actually might be pretty decent. Again, said it a bunch. If it goes south, you can trade Tyus Jones for first round pick, and you have a bunch of more assets coming up later. So that's it for Washington, I think.
Yeah, I can't think of much to touch on there. Who's their coach?
Oh, great question.
We should know that.
I absolutely should know that. Wes Unseld Jr. is the head coach.
Oh wow, yeah. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I know who Wes Unseld is.
Yeah,
So
yeah. His son is the head coach. I fucking knew that.
that's sweet.
Good.
So I think.
Who's next?
All right, let's see. So generate number 4. It's the Celtics. Do you want to skip that one?
Yeah, skip that one so all the boys are together. That's hilarious.
That's pretty funny. Generate again. Milwaukee Bucks.
Man, this one should be a pretty interesting one. Let me go first. I've got
Go ahead.
so what the Bucks need is, I think
I
the
like this
Bucks. I think the Bucks need everybody around them to get worse, which is a possibility. The teams that have gotten better are too far away from Milwaukee to really contend, unless something crazy happens. What else could the Bucks need? Who's running point there right now? Still
Drew
Drew?
Drew Holiday, yeah.
I mean, you're not getting rid of him. You're keeping Chris Middleton there. You got Giannis. You got Brook Lopez. You've got our boy coming off the bench, Bobby Portis. Ah, man, that's a. I'll tell you what. That's another one. I think Tyus Jones could go over to Milwaukee and run that second unit with Portis. That'd be an interesting one, but they don't really need him. I think Milwaukee need everybody else around them. Again, we said it earlier. I think Milwaukee have re-signed everybody for a reason. I think they think they're fine, and I don't think they're wrong for thinking that, but it would be very interesting to see if it doesn't work out. Because if it doesn't work out, you look like an absolute idiot. Because if other teams around them are not going to get better, then Milwaukee are in, like I said, far and away the best team in the East. Like it's not even close. But if other teams around them, if the other team around them if their gamble works out, if Boston's gamble works out, if Indiana takes a massive jump, if Cleveland take a massive jump, if this New York project works out, a lot of what ifs there. But if that happens, I do think Milwaukee are in a bit of trouble here. What do you think?
So I think a couple things we need to touch on. I'm interested to see Adrian Griffin as the head coach. Don't know much about him, so I think there's this past like 5 years there's been these random assistant coaches come in and have been great coaches. Like Nick Nurse is an example of that. He was a good coach, came out of nowhere. Will Hardy this past season. Like there's been these young coaches. Brad Stevens is one, kind of came out of nowhere, was a good coach. I think seeing what this guy is going to be as a head coach is big. I think them losing Budenholzer is also big because he's has a good reputation. I don't think Budenholzer is that good of a coach, personally. I think he's a good regular season coach, but I mean, I think he had Giannis, which helps him get that championship. But another thing too, I think health is big. If Chris Middleton can stay healthy and be what he was when they were on the championship run, I think they're right there in the mix. The next thing, and I think that I don't think we've talked about this yet. Giannis is still capable to get better. You know, he's still young.
For sure.
Giannis comes back next year. I mean, he could almost average a triple double. You know,
Yeah.
like him coming back next year and being better than he was, they could be right there in the mix. And honestly, like with the asterisks on the Celtics right now, if I was betting, I would almost bet the Bucks were going to make it to the finals next year.
100%.
Because you don't know what the Celtics are yet. They have potential to be better. They also have potential to be a 5 seed, 6 seed. I mean, it was just 2 years ago they were the 8 seed.
So, it's Milwaukee 1, Boston 2. Who's third? I know we're talking about, we'll go back to Milwaukee in a second. Who's third? We don't know. It could be anybody.
It could be anybody.
There's
probably Cleveland, because Cleveland was 4th last year. They were good, so I'd say they probably got better to be 3 because Sixers, I think, are worse.
That's fair. I think that the jump, again, I think you're spot on. Health is a big thing. And when you talk about Giannis getting better, that all depends on not just his health, but the team's health. Because if everybody's healthy, Giannis and the team go, all right, let's show everybody how good we are. But if everybody starts getting bad and everybody starts getting hurt, they might say, Giannis, shut yourself down. We're just going to the playoffs and then turn it on then. You know, it could be one of those. We don't care about the regular season situation. So for Milwaukee, it's not so much of who they can get in right now, because it's weird to say they don't need anybody, because they might need guys, but I think it's very clear that they are confident of their guys and running it back. They feel like they're better off, and I feel like they have to be looking around at the East going, nobody really has gotten better. If that gamble doesn't pay off, though, that's interesting. And you're spot on with Adrian Griffin, man. We don't know what this guy came from the Thunder background, so a lot of these Thunder assistants go on to be very good head coaches. We'll see with this guy; it's unproven, but Milwaukee's an interesting one. Like I said, Milwaukee's 1, Boston is still 2 for me. Cleveland has snuck into 3, but really after that, it's a drop off. There's a massive drop off, and there's even questions.
Like Miami was in the finals this year, and I would be surprised if they weren't a playing again. Like
100%.
You don't know what you're going to get out of them. So
crazy. Love that. I can't wait for next week's, man. Can't wait for next week.
Yeah,
when we get the Pistons, I might go off for an hour.
I think it's so funny. We got the Celtics.
So funny. We'll wait for all 3 of the boys.
Yeah, we'll wait for the boys to be back together.
You got a this or that before we close out?
I do.
This hour flew by.
It did. It really did. I have a couple that I've really been waiting for full squad to get back together to go over. Last episode was just such a long one with the draft. We didn't have time.
Yeah.
I got this one. This one's pretty interesting. So these to me are the best international players of all time, and I want to know which one you would rather have
Okay.
in their prime: Dirk Nowitzki or Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm gonna go super biased here. Two things. One, computer almost died, which would have lost all of this hour that we just did, which would have been absolutely hysterical.
But no
Because
episode
my
this week. That's what that would
no,
have happened.
my 100% because my charger was not plugged in. The thing just came up and said, "Hey, your computer's about to die." That would have been then that would have been funny. To answer your question of between Dirk and Giannis, the answer is definitely you're talking about on my team in the NBA.
Yeah. Who would you rather build your team around?
I think Giannis is definitely the answer, but it's really hard for me to say to not bring up Dirk because Dirk is everybody will have this one guy. Dirk's what got me into basketball. Like I guess it could be LeBron and Chris Paul. My dislike for these guys, but I mean I became such a Mavericks fan at that time. I really wanted these guys to beat Miami, and they eventually did. So Dirk is my your Steve Nash, your Rajah Bell, the GOAT. I mean, Dirk is my guy. So I think Giannis is the answer, but I'm going Dirk because I love watching this guy play. I mean, that's just one of my all time favorite players. Need to buy that guy's jersey. Won't wear a Dallas jersey around. How do you feel about buying jerseys now that we're 30 years old?
It seems except like
Seems weird.
it's not often I'm wearing tank tops, you know? It's like when I went to the beach, I brought it. I was like, oh yeah, this is a time to wear a tank top. I never even put it on. I brought my Larry Bird jersey, I didn't even put it on.
Yeah,
I would wear it to a game. And if like out to a bar or something, if I was going out to watch a game, that's the only situation. It's like I'm not
exactly.
putting it on when I watch. They play 82 times a year. I'm not going to go upstairs and change clothes when they play every time.
For sure. We're well past that stage. When I go to the beach, there's nothing feels better than a basketball jersey at the beach, though. But I'm
I
not
agree.
I'm not putting on Cade Cunningham's jersey to sit on my couch and watch him play. I don't. If you do that, shout out. We're not knocking you. Do your thing. But I don't know. I feel a little bit weird about it. Kid's 18 years old.
It's also weird because they're like you said, they're children. It's like weird wearing someone's last name and then like they're like I'm 10 years older than they are.
Dylan and I had this conversation. This is super off topic. Dylan and I have this conversation all the time. We used to be massive into college game, and the
Yeah,
older I get, the more I'm just like, man, I hope all these kids get paid because it's so damn hard out here. And the moment they get paid, I hate them. So it's hard. I just don't
it's a
have
weird
this.
line.
It is, man. I don't have this like diehard like fascination with the college game anymore because they are quite literal children. And if you remember, thinking back to when you were 18 years old, like just a different world, just 18, 19, 20 years old. Like, and we're only 30. Like, I can't imagine being 40 years old crying about a college team losing because he's an 18-year-old child playing. So
Yeah.
different world, just different world that we're living in now. The older we get, getting old, sweet though. Don't get upset about it. Getting old's pretty sweet. You get to do whatever you want all the time. And then when you have kids like Dylan does, t-shirts full of snot, baby. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
You got another
So
this or that?
no, I got the one. I didn't get to say my this or that. You just went on it.
Oh yeah,
You-
man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
it's all good.
Dylan, would you rather have Giannis or Dirk to start your team off, dude?
So I like this one. Can you imagine how good Dirk would be in today's NBA?
Oh, dude.
And I know it was only a few years ago he retired, but it's like the game has changed so much since then.
Yeah,
And
he was
he would
38.
be, yeah, he would be so good in today's NBA. But on the flip note, Giannis is one of those people that would dominate any era of basketball he played in too.
Sure.
It's like he's just so big. They both led teams to a championship, being pretty much. I mean, Chris Middleton, I say, was an all-star, but
Yeah.
more or less being the only stars in their team.
Yeah.
And they were also like almost not expected to win it that year either. So I think you put a little asterisk on that. I got to give it to Giannis too, and this is the only reason why. Man, one defensive player of the year. Dirk is not a great defender.
No.
And that's defense is half of the game of basketball. So it's like you to me, I got to give the slight edge to Giannis. I really wanted to go Dirk. I really did because that guy would be so good in today's basketball.
So
God,
much
he'd be
fun.
so good.
So much fun.
He'd be way better than Karl Anthony Towns. I promise you that.
100%. Everybody that thinks 100%, dude, that's such a great shot. If you one of these guys that think Karl Towns is his GOAT, Dirk's better. It's not even
Close.
that needs to be said more often because people shout out about Cat. Could not. I think you.
To be fair, most of the people shouting out about Cat is Cat. So it's just
touche, absolute touche. You got another one. Or you keeping the last for when the
the other ones I really like a lot. So I'll wait for.
Right, we'll keep it the boys. We've hit an
Dolan.
hour and 5 minutes anyway, so
good.
we'll be this solid show. This hour quite literally flew by. I cannot believe how fast this was.
It's 11:30. I'm definitely ready for bed. So
yeah, Dylan and I actually have work tomorrow. Dolan's
July 3rd. We have to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you working on the 4th?
No, thankfully.
I'm also not working on the 4th.
Yeah,
We're
but
gonna
that's
get
even
the
dumber. You work one day, then off another day.
yeah, for sure. 100%, dude. 100% agree. Like, they should just give us the day off. Like I said, I root for these college kids because it's hard out here. Get paid, boys. Get paid.
Mhm.
But the moment you get paid and you're not playing for the Pistons, hate your guts. Thank you all so much for listening. Hope you guys tune in next week. We love doing this. Enjoy doing this every single week. Go give us a follow on Twitter at the Post Up Boys. Follow this. Subscribe to this show on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Before we close out, Dylan, where can the people find you at?
You can find me at Dillbond00 on Twitter. I only have 600 tweets I get to look at. So if you're going to follow me, make sure you tweet the good ones. Don't waste any of my tweets I get to look at.
That's right. Yeah, Dylan. Make sure all of those are Celtics related tweets for Dylan.
Please.
That's all he
Please.
cares about. You can find me at Carefree Willis on Twitter. Come hang out, talk about the Pistons, talk about how it's gonna be a fun season next year, and give our boy Dolan a follow at Ryan Props with a Z. We'll see him. We'll be back next week. You're here next week, right?
I'm here next week.
I am also here next week. I will be from, as Pat McAfee would say, an attic in Ohio, I think. So we will see we will see you guys next week. The boys will be back again. Thank you all so much for listening. See ya.
See ya.